Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon. Hey Jumarinas, how you doing? Has the weekend come early? Has the weekend come early? That's my looking at the markets. That's my question. Thinking to myself, it's been quiet. So has the weekend come early? What do you think? Are you guys entering into many trades, or do you have any trade ideas at the moment? Potential trade setups. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Hey Angel Case, good morning. All right. Hey Nav, how you doing? I guess it's all working as usual. You can see me okay, hear me all right. If you're on the session, do drop a message, say hi. I realize that there are many of you watching, but not many commenting or leaving a comment or saying or chatting in the group. So do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. Again, if you're new, or again, if you're a regular. For all the regulars, drop a message, say hi. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. It is a Friday, the 17th of May, wrapping up the trading week. Not very, how do I say? It wasn't a big week. It wasn't a big trading week. It's been an interesting week. Not many trades, but we had the CPI for the US earlier in the middle of the week, and not much else. So it's just like quiet, peaked up in volatility and liquidity, and then went back down again. Or rather, in dollar index terms, it shot down and then went back up again. Right? So it's been interesting. Looking forward into next week. It feels like the weekend is here already. I hope you all have been trading well. Hey Suyun, how are you doing? So yes, if you have any questions, put it into the chat and let me know. I think today's session might be short and sharp. We'll see how it goes. A quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, so please remember that your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Right, with that said, take that away. Before anything else, just before I lose that, I just wanted to highlight to you all that there was this news, this headliner that came out 4 hours ago, 4 or 5 hours ago, where it says that from the ex-chief economist, it says that the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, may raise rates as soon as June. That's not very far away. May raise rates in June. I'm not saying that I don't see it happening, but it seems like it's quite a low chance. But that's going to be interesting. The last time they raised rates, we saw the dollar yen spike to the downside before resuming back up again. Is it going to happen in June? I think that if they do raise rates in June, if they only raise rates in June, we're probably going to see the same impact, a spike down and then continue back up again, or maybe even less of a spike down. But if they do raise rates and talk about future or plan out a path for future rate hikes, that's going to have, or most likely going to have, a bit more impact on the yen, on strengthening the yen. I think that if it's just the rates alone, not going to do too much. Okay, so that was a headliner that I saw, and I thought, just to highlight to you guys, there is more talk about the BOJ with their rates decision coming up. And then also we have the Fed's master, who's suggesting that interest rates should stay higher for longer, right? Again, pushing out that timeline for a rate cut decision from the FOMC, while Fed member Bostic is saying that it's pleased with inflation progress in April, but the Fed is not there yet. Again, pushing out that timeline, or jawboning to push out that timeline for a rate cut decision. We know that June, right? June is almost a certainty that they're going to keep rates on hold, but it is interesting to see that we have moved slightly, very slightly to the other direction. It was 97.1%, it's now 91.3%, a slight increase on the chance for a rate cut decision in June. I don't think it's going to factor in, but a slight move towards a rate cut decision. While in July, it looks like it, by the time we get there or get close to July, it might come to a 50-50 decision. But I think that the more likely scenario seems to be in September, right? It seems to be in September, where right now we're at a 31% chance of rates staying at the current level. Maybe by the time we get closer to September, we will see it shifting more towards the rate cut, or stronger, even stronger towards the rate cut decision. Okay, so these headliners here from the BOJ about rate hike decision, and then now members from the Fed talking about pushing it out maybe towards I think September, right? Slight chance in July, but I think more likely in September, November and December. I'm slowly losing my voice, so let's see how far we get with this. Before we move on, hey Linley, how are you doing? Hey Noah Chuku, good to see you. Hey Christina, hey Lingopedia, good morning Diana, hope you're well. Now, coming back to what has happened since the last time we spoke, I would say not that much apart from a continuation of the retrace that we were expecting, right? It's retracing a lot more than we expected, but it's still going on. At 8:30 p.m. last night, 8:30 GMT plus 8 last night, we saw the US unemployment claims come out pretty much unaffected. It was 232K revised from 231, so a slight revision. Expected 219 came out at 222. No big surprise there, came out pretty much as expected. We did see the dollar continue to climb, but it's not so much because of this news. I feel that it's more technical retracement through to today. Again, not a lot happening. We do have the Euro CPI to be released later at 5 o'clock. I don't think this is going to factor too much for the Euro. And that's why right at the start of the session, I was saying, it feels like the weekend is here. It feels like the weekend is here. I'm not planning to try to squeeze out too many trades. I do have some that I'm looking out for. I'll share that with you shortly. But it feels like it might be a retracement, a slight move, prime for next week, right? What do we have next week? Is on Monday, it's again going to be quiet. Look, Monday, the Swiss is on a Whit Monday, no idea what that is. The French on Whit Monday again. The Germans on Whit Monday again. And the Canadians on Victoria Day, right? So it looks like it's going to be a little bit quiet through Monday next week. It feels like we might see a little bit of volatility with the US open and most of the Eurozone closed, but I think it's going to be choppy on Monday. Through to Tuesday, we will have CPI for the Canadians. Watch out, we'll tell you more about that for the Canadian dollar on Tuesday for the loonie. But on Wednesday, this is going to be interesting. On Wednesday at 10 a.m., we will have the RBNZ with their interest rate decision keeping at 5.5%. But the question is, what's the timeline for any potential rate cut decisions to come from the RBNZ? The RBNZ has were, I think they, if I'm not wrong, they were one of the first ones to hike rates, right? They were one of the first ones to talk about possible cutting rates. So there might be a bit of a forward signal. We're looking to that on Wednesday. Through Wednesday as well, we have the UK with their CPI numbers to be released year on year. No forecast yet, but watch out for that. So Wednesday seems like it's going to be a bit of a more higher liquidity, possibly a higher liquidity day onwards. Through that, we have PMI numbers to be released on Thursdays for the Eurozone, for the UK, and for the US. PMI right now not factoring in too much, but a big, more significant change could bring about price volatility again. And then on Friday, we have Canadian numbers, well, UK retail sales numbers and Canadian retail sales numbers to be released, right? So looking for a bit more of a trending scenario through next week, especially with a bit more focus on the Canadians and also the slightly on the RBNZ or the New Zealand dollar, Kiwi dollar, and then onto the UK. We do also have meeting minutes from the FOMC on Thursday, but as usual, meeting minutes, not too bothered about it. Meeting minutes do tend to have that it's already done. We're just telling you what we did previously. So I don't typically see a big increase in volatility for that, especially at 2 a.m. Not something I'm going to stay up for. Okay, so for today, looking at this. Hey Pips Apprentice, how are you doing? Lingo PA is saying at least it's better because previous was 231, now it's 222, lower than forecast. Given that it's so this is referring to the this number. Where is it? Referring to the unemployment claims from the US. Given that it's a weekly number, it's not a big change between 231 and 222, not a big impact, and that's what we saw as well. Okay, so I didn't think too much about it. So on the dollar index front, it did not come down to break that level, so let's take that away for now. It did zig, but it zigged higher than I thought. It went up to that resistance level at 104.55 or 50. It broke up at this point here. At this point here in the Discord group, I was saying, hey, it looks like dollar index might be trending up towards this trend line, right? It might continue retracing up to this trend line before turning back down again, but also remembering that there is this 38.2 level that might be holding it back slightly. Okay, so if I put this here, you'll see that. So that might be holding it back slightly now there. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. Trending down. Yesterday was retracement day after that big move. So it retraced, and if you looked at this, this was a start from the CPI news. And if I did that, there you go. You can see that it retraced back up to about that 61.8 level, right? And if you took the whole Wednesday to start, where was it? Wednesday, okay, there, right about there. It did, so this was Wednesday starting point all the way down to Thursday at the bottom. It came up and it coincided along that 104.70 level. So it retraced up, the dollar index retraced up a bit more than I had expected at the start from yesterday. But now, given that it looks like it's rejecting this level, we're possibly looking for the dollar index to break down from this resistance turned support level. Okay, and taking this, I take Fibonacci's on the 2 short-term moves, but this kind of coincides we want it to break. If this does signal an end of that retracement, to confirm that, we want it to break below 104.40 to trade down towards that 104 level. Okay, so that's what I would be looking for, given that it's done this move down, it's done a retracement back up, or possibly, or even that small one before coming up. Now we're looking for that to break to the downside this way. Okay, so on the dollar index front, today being the 17th, all right, it looks like it may be done with retracement. Needs to break 104.40 to confirm. Below 104.40, below 104.40 could trade down to 104 round number support. There we go. That's what I'll be looking at. Hey Stefan, how are you doing? Right, so it's coming back down. It's done its retrace. It looks like it's doing its looks like it's completing its retracement. This was a little bit early. Now, if it breaks below 104.40, then we could see it trade down towards that 104 level. Good afternoon, Augusto. How are you doing? Now, with that, right, and then, okay, the alternate is it bounces off this level back up. If it fails to break this point, then we could see it bounce back up towards that trend line level. Let me have a look. I don't think it'll go that point. Yeah, if it fails to break, it might come back up to this level, but I'm looking for more likely that scenario to the downside. Now, with that said, again, anticipating some dollar weakness to resume or resumption of the dollar weakness, looking at the Kiwi, I will maintain this view. So this, if you notice, looks like a flip of the dollar index. It shot up, it retraced, it tried, and then it looks like it's going back up again. I'll maintain this view that we could be looking at 6145, 20 pips to 70 pips to the upside. Yeah, okay, I'll tell you what, I think that we look for that, but one thing to watch out for is that hesitation, okay? It looks like liquidity might be a bit slower today, so in the best case, we'll look to buy at 6145, 20 pip stop loss, 70 pip take profit. The hesitation at 6180 is going to be quite significant, which also means that hesitation and might close, right? So if it does pop up and you do get into that trade, I might actually close at 6180 if it doesn't show a good strong momentum to the upside. I don't see today being a 70 pip move on the Kiwi dollar. Okay, so I'm looking at that as it might just push up. If I get into that trade, it might be a 1:1.5 kind of trade, but you might want to close at 6180. Then with that, looking at the Aussie, right, did not push up to retrace back down, take that away. What is interesting here is that it did come down, it found a good support here, and it bounced back up, right? So this support level is holding. This support level is holding, and it looks like it might form a good base. It looks like it might form a good base that could bounce, that could provide a foundation for a bounce. Okay, so we're looking for this to push up, and if you look at this, 50% is right there. Okay, let me think. Dollar index to weaken, we take this point here at 50, take that away for now, thinking that it could push up. So 6690, stop loss can be quite tight. I would say even 15, take profit 35 to the upside. Not a big one, but it's right in the middle there. I wouldn't mind this point just because of how it resisted. So if it does break past this point, we could see that upside move. Alternatively, is it would stay within this range. Okay, so what I'm thinking on the Aussie is that it could range between 6655 and 6685. 5 and 0.6685. But if it breaks, then we could buy at 6690, 15 to 35. So 0.66990, stop loss 15, take profit 35 to the upside. Okay, small move again. You'll probably notice that today I might be looking at smaller moves just because it looks like it might be a bit slow. Okay, now you see the dollar index is again looking like it's finding that support. Wouldn't rule out that bounce as well. So we will also be identifying some potential dollar strength scenarios. And I guess you know which ones I'll be looking for on the dollar strength scenario. The US yen did not have that big drop. It continued pushing up, breaking past all these levels. So we can take that away, and that as well, and that. Right. Now, if the dollar strengthens back up, because of the way the yen is moving, and you can see now that it's forming that slight higher low kind of move. All right, higher low, that push to the upside. I would be, no, we don't need that, take that away. Let me see. Okay, I would be actually quite tempted to think that it could push up if the dollar strengthens and drags the US yen to the upside. It would be best to see the yen sit around here, retrace down to this support, bounce off this level, and trade up. Okay, so one idea is that yes, dollar weakness might drag it back down. Then you look for a bounce off this support, 154.35. Stop loss about 40 pips, take profit. I could see that big move right back up again. Looks, that could be one, but I feel that that's a long time to wait for that move to the downside. So we put that aside for now. Alternatively is for it to break out of this consolidation and push to the upside. So what I would be looking for in this case would be those levels there, looking for it to break to the upside. Oops. Looking to buy it up. 156.15, stop loss tight, 30 pips. Take profit, you would have 40, 50 there, or you could go up to almost 90 pips, 80 pips there to the upside. Yeah, I would be looking for that. Okay, so that's the option 2, right? The possible, but maybe a bit unlikely. But I'll be looking for that as the more likely scenario to the upside on the US yen. Okay, so US yen, I'll be looking to, if we do see that dollar strength come back into play, I'll be looking at 156.15, 30 to 80 to the upside. Looking to buy at 156.15, 30 to 80. Stop loss 30, take profit 80 to the upside. If it finds that support, looking for it to bounce. Jimmy is saying looking to retest at 155.30 level. 155.30, which is down here. I was thinking of that when I was, looking at this. Yeah, so if it comes down to this point, that'll be 155.35, or this point here. I feel that it's a wide consolidation, so it might bounce around here, come down around this point. So if I can draw that consolidation again, it would probably look a bit like that, right? Between 155.35 to 155.90, that 60 pip range, bounce around. I'll be looking for that breakout to the upside to get in at 156.15. So yeah, I agree, could retest that 23.6 fib level, but if that holds, then I'll be looking for that option 1. If it breaks below that 155 level, then I'll sit out and wait for option 2. I'll be a bit cautious to try and sell the US yen down at this point in time. Okay? So thanks for spotting that out, Jimmy. On to the pound dollar, right? We were looking for that to test up and break down. It did not test up, so it did not come to the point where we thought it was gaining that momentum to push down. It in fact just sat there and then traded slightly lower. So it went from 1.2680 down to 1.2646, about 40 pips to the downside, and then bounce back up again. Because it did not do that, I wouldn't have got into that trade, right? And I didn't get into this trade as well. So if anyone got into it, let me know. What I'm looking at here is anticipating this push to the downside, this move to the downside on the dollar index, or even slightly to the downside. I am still going to be waiting for that move up before turning back down again. Okay, that move up before turning back down again. Again, because of that 61.8 level. And you can see it happened quite similar here. Right, it pushed up, came down, tested this point, bounced back up, and then we saw that it did coincide with a news, right, on the dollar. Now we're looking at that come down to this level again, bounce back up, looking for that rejection. So I would again be looking 1.2690, stop loss 20. Take profit. I don't think it'll go all the way. Hang on. take profit. For today, we could even be looking at that 50 to the downside. Right, dollar weakness to push it up, and then a continuation back down. Look at the dollar, finding that strength, slight strength bounce off that point. What you could be looking out is either for that move, I would like that, or alternative would be, because we're still looking for the pound dollar to come to the downside, alternative would be if it breaks this 1.2650 level, then you would be looking for a sell to the downside, 1.2640, stop loss tight 15, take profit 35 to the downside. You might even go to 65. I don't see a 65, but you could put it there. Right, so again, this is the longer term, more waiting to do. This could be the nearer term move. Let's do that and do that. Okay, so I would I'll consider this as a dollar strength scenario, more further recovery back up. So 1.2640. What am I doing? Okay, pound dollar, I'll be looking to sell at 1.2640, stop loss 15, take profit 65 to the downside. 1.215, take profit 65 to the downside. Again, this is if the dollar bounces from here back up towards that resistance level, towards the trend line and that resistance level. All right, I like drawing my triangles. So towards this path, that area there. Take that away. If it bounces off this point, and we could see it trade up to this resistance level. Okay, so I might take that away as an option. We'll keep that there. Now, looking at that onto the euro dollar, I was so keen on this. It came down, I thought great, come down, bounce, not as much as I expected, bounce back up, coming back down. At that point I was thinking, this morning I was thinking, could it come down lower and break, especially after I was saying that the dollar index was possibly going to bounce a bit more to the upside. I was looking for that move down, did not happen. It is still sitting along this resistance level. That 23.6 is holding. What I would be looking out for in this case, I'll put in this dotted line just to highlight that, is that it's going to sit in here. It's going to sit in here, and I would be looking for this to break. I would still think that it could bounce around here, break this 23.6 level together with this as a resistance area, rejecting it to the downside. So again, on a dollar strength scenario, I'll be looking at 1.0850, 30, 25 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit to the downside, looking for it to break that trend line, that bullish trend line to the downside together with 23.6 level. Okay, so 1.08, I don't think there's a straddle there at this point. Oops. Oh, we have it there. All right, we could be looking to sell at 1.0850, 25 to 50. Tightening it up a little bit, 25 to 50 to the downside. So what we have here, just after this 5 pairs that we've looked at, is that we do have on the dollar weakness. If it does push down, we could be looking to buy the Kiwi up, we could be looking to buy the Aussie up, right? If we do see it bounce from this support area back up towards that trend line and horizontal resistance level, then we would be looking to buy the yen or sell the pound and or sell the euro to the downside. Make sense so far? Let me know. And I think I forgot to say this today, but if you can, do remember to help me out. Click that like button, that thumbs up button, and subscribe if you haven't already. Then on to the US Swiss franc. Right when we thought, great, the US Swiss franc is finally making a move, it's gone right back up. Right, we were sitting there thinking that this was yesterday, we were thinking, great, it's gone down, it's broken that range that has been stuck in for a long time, and then it's anticipating that big move to the downside, did not happen. It's found that, I don't know what it says, oh yeah, resistance now turned support again. It's found this whole area and bounced right back into the zone again. Right back into the zone. This is going to hold. 0.91 is going to be a key level again. Dollar index sitting right there. What you could be looking for in this case, I think this we can take away, is a test and reject back down. Looking to sell it down. 9085, stop loss 20 at the very most, take profit down to 70, back towards the support, right? This is on a dollar weakness scenario, right? Dollar now sitting along there, maybe pushing it back up slightly before coming back down. We're going to see that drag the US Swiss franc up. Hopefully that 0.91 is going to hold together with this point that has been holding. Then I'll be looking to sell it down. I don't usually like the US Swiss franc, but I think that this could present as quite a good setup. This could be quite a good setup to sell back down. Jimmy said, just saw somewhere Swiss might do another rate cut. That would be good. That would be, wait, when is the Swiss meeting again? I don't think, oh, it's not next week, it's not soon. I know there's a better way to do this. I'm just scrolling through. I don't see it yet. I don't think it's soon. So if it's not straight away, I wouldn't worry about it too much at this point. But it would be fine. It would be fine if they do a rate cut to lead to a better move. I think this was when they did. I think this was when they did the last adjustment. No, this was when they did the last adjustment. Right, the rate cut, and then it pushed the Swiss up, keeping within that range. So I think that for now, I'll be looking at that setup. But yeah, thanks for that, Jimmy. Again, we will be watching out for that. Would be good if we do see, okay, again, Swiss National Bank, the SNB, I don't exactly trust and follow exactly what they do. They do tend to surprise markets a little bit. More likely the scenario is that when you don't expect them to cut, then they will do it. So we'll play with that when it comes around, or we'll see the likelihood of when it comes around. 20th June, that's still a month away. We'll deal with that when it comes closer. So okay, I'll put that in first before I forget. 9085, 20 to 70. 0.9085, stop loss 20, take profit 70. Okay, good. Yeah, we will look forward to that on the 20th of June. Still a long time more. I mean, price on the US Swiss franc might be entirely different by then as well. So we'll look at that when it comes. Then on to the US CAD, onto the loonie. This again was something that I was looking at last night. I saw it go up, hit that trend line, and I thought, great, hit the trend line, tracing back down. Can I look to sell this down? But at the same time, when you see it pushing down at 11 last night, the dollar index at the same point coming down, the next moment dollar index started pushing back up. I thought, that's it, there's no chance we're going to see it drop. So that did not trigger. Take that away. Now, this again would be a scenario if the dollar index strengthens, or again if the dollar index weakens. You have that two opportunity there on the CAD. You have a descending triangle. Let me see. I don't see it now. I was going to say, I don't know whether this is what you are referring to. I was going to say that. I was looking at that, right? Like that. Is that what you were referring to, Diana? So looking at that, right? Why I say that there is both that buying selling opportunity is because if it does break out of this point, right, we have this level up here that it could trade up to. Small level, right? Small level where we could be looking for it to go long if it breaks out of this trend line. 1.3640. You got a 30 pip move to the upside. You can keep your stop loss quite tight. You know, 20 pips there. That push up, it could even go up to 61.8, which might be better up to this point here. So we'll be looking at that 50 pip move to the upside. All right, break up that way. Or if it breaks, so this will be a counter trend move. This would be a counter trend move. Or if it breaks down from this level, this slight ascending trend line and that horizontal support, then again it will be very similar to yesterday's view that it could be below 1.36. I'll be below that round number level. Stop loss 20 pips again. Take profit down to almost 50 to the downside. So it's right in that area. Okay. Which do I prefer? It all depends on what this guy is going to do. It looks like if it does push up, then you have that move. You have both the options there. Okay, so US CAD, go away. Okay, US CAD, we have a buy at 1.3640, 20 to 50, or we would sell at 1.3600, stop loss 20, take profit 50 as well. Okay, it all depends on what the dollar index. Yes, you need to watch it closely. It could ultimately disappoint us by sitting in this range, but we're looking for that breakout. Okay, and then this is trend for, oops, take that away. And then this is trend following. Okay, then on to gold, right? We were looking, okay, if it breaks up, we could see it go up. I think someone was asking about whether it's going to retrace. It did retrace to where we kind of thought it could get to, right? Consolidating needs to break 2400 to trade up 2415. It was consolidating. I highlighted that it could come down to that 2382 level and also that swing level there, it held. So now you have that trend line as well, supporting it to push up. Dollar index now you can see strengthening up a little bit. That's why you see this pushing down. I would say that we might see this test and bounce. All right, so what we're possibly looking for in this case would be, so you got that point there. All right, the gold needs to stay above 2375 and it could bounce to 2400. Okay, so gold needs to stay above 2375, could bounce to 2400. 2375 to bounce to 2400. There we go. Okay, that's great. Okay, and then Diana saying pound yen looks good, looking good for potential short. Pound yen. Okay, pound yen. Yep, I think since yesterday we were looking for that push up. So phase one of the projection is done to go up, looking for it to break that resistance to turn back down, to sell it back down. I feel that with anticipating the yen pushing up, I'll possibly trade the yen up first. I'll do that move up, right, slightly, and then because we're thinking the pound could drop, then if the pound does drop, I'll close out so if I had the plan, my plan would be buy the yen up, right, buy the yen up as it moves up. When the pound starts coming down to that 21.26 level, I'll close out the yen. I could trade the pound down, or I could also get into that because that would have pushed up higher and then you would sell that down. Okay, so in this case, we had it at 197. I still wanted to break that round number. You could go a little bit more aggressive. I don't think it's worth that. I think 197, I think you can go a bit tighter on your stop to 45. Your take profit could be down to that support at 130. But what we're looking at in this case would be for it to break a little bit more to the upside. All right, so I'm thinking that it could do, let's see, that's the 61.8 is up there. I don't think you'll get to 61.8. That's still quite a bit away. That's almost 198. Then could be looking for that. I'll still maintain this view. I'll maintain this view. We're looking for this to break and then come back down again that way. Okay. If 2375 is not held, then if 2375 is not held, then we could see it trade lower down to that point, right down there. I think that that's going to be crucial if we're looking for that to bounce. If it's not held, then it could trade down. But if you are looking to trade that down, you know, how I'm looking at it is it's not always, but it's bounced off this level, it's trending to the upside. I think if it does come down, that means we're going to see that dollar strength come back into play. Instead of selling gold to the downside, I think it'd be a better move to trade on the pairs towards the dollar strength scenarios. Okay, so that's all. That seems to be setting up quite nicely. there might be something to get in quite soon. Kiwi, no, it's just bouncing around. Aussie bouncing around. That one I like. I might put an order in for that. I might put an order in for that trade up. Actually, most likely I will. Pound as well, probably a bit later on. Euro just going to bounce around there. We're looking for that to break to the downside. Sweezy, push up, test back down. Maybe, quite likely. And USCAD as well. Okay, so with all that, highlight the high priority for me, US yen and the pound dollar together with the US yen, pound dollar later on, and the euro to the downside. Now with that said, please remember, help me out, click that like and subscribe. If you haven't already, I'll see you on Discord. Do share your trade ideas in Discord as well. And have a super and fantastic weekend ahead. I'll see you all on Monday, same time, same place. Take care now. Bye-bye.